When you think of the common business majors that are out there, a lot of classic jobs will come to mind. If you think of accounting, most likely you're thinking of working at a Big Four accounting firm. Finance majors go on to be investment bankers working on Wall Street. Marketing students often go on to work in social media companies or in the fashion industry. Entrepreneurship management students often start their own companies. And business analytics students often aim to be data analysts at Fortune 500 companies. And while all of these professions are great, they're usually accompanied by a cutthroat and competitive environment. I was curious. If I were to Google, what is the business world like, what I would get. So I did it for you today. Google told me that the business world is tough and competitive, and everyone knows that to succeed in it, you need a wide array of skills. The business world is built on this foundation of being competitive. It's no longer about doing your best, it's just about doing better than everyone else. There's a professor of marketing in the University of Texas's business school named Raj Raghunathan, and he wrote a book, If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Happy? There was an article written in The Atlantic by Joe Pinsker, where he interviewed the professor, and they discuss his book and his beliefs. Part of his book, he questions why it is that so many accomplished, successful, and rich people are simply just not happy in their lives. And a big reason he says that this is the case is that they're constantly comparing themselves to other people. It's that competitive nature. It's not about doing your best, it's just about doing better than other people. Most of the people in this room here are business students. Some of us are ready to embark into the business world, and some of us are just getting comfortable within their business schools. However, I think it's important that we all know all the opportunities that are out there for us. Those classic jobs I mentioned are not the only jobs out there for you. The business world is very vast, and there's something that each and every one of you can find that's going to be meaningful to you. Raj Raghunathan gives two pieces of advice to help people live a more happy and meaningful life. The first one is find something that you're good at and do it. It's practically not possible for all of us here to be perfect at everything. It's not going to happen. But if we hone in on those few things that we are good at, then we can do them and do them well, and we can be happier in our lives. When we're being successful and we're doing everything right in our jobs, it will lead us to be happier. And the second piece of advice he gives is do something that you find meaningful. If you're going to a job day in and day out where you find your job meaningful and you're passionate about it and it really gives you joy, then overall your life will be a lot happier. So now we can go out into the business world and see that there's really more options where each and every one of us can find something that's meaningful for us. Some people thrive on that cutthroat and competitive environment, but personally, I was looking for something different. I didn't like that mentality of the competitiveness, which is what led me to look into the world of non-for-profit business. For as long as I can remember, when I thought about my career and my future, I knew just one thing. I wanted to make a positive impact on the world, but I was not at all sure how I was going to do this. From a young age, the value of chesed, of kindness, was ingrained in me. Since before my father even graduated high school, he was an emergency medical technician as volunteer for Hatzalah, which is an emergency squad of volunteers, and they go out and help people. Which means that my entire life I've lived in a house where if someone nearby isn't feeling well, then of course my father's running out on a call to go help them. And yeah, it meant we had to sacrifice some time with our dad, but my siblings and I were so happy to do it, to be able to support him going out and helping so many people. When my father met my mother, they realized they shared this value, so they decided they're going to build a home based on it. When they were dating, they actually used to go out every Thursday night. First, they'd go out and deliver food packages for an organization, Tomchei Shabbos, which gives out food packages to those that are struggling financially each week. After that, they'd go off and have their next activity. And all of my friends know that to this day, no matter what, Shoshi's busy on Thursday nights because she's home delivering Tomchei Shabbos with her family. But as I grew up, I wanted to do something, kind of branch out on my own, where I can live that value of chesed, of kindness. Because I saw that in my life there were so many good things, but I wanted to use that to give back to those that might not have as much good. So I got involved with an organization called iShine, which is a part of the bigger organization of Chai Lifeline. What iShine is it's a program for children whose parents are suffering from terminal illnesses. These children are facing such stressful situations at home with their parents, with doctor's appointments, and just being sick. And it's a night where they can come, be normal children, have fun, get some dinner, and even some help with their homework, and just forget those stresses that they have at home. After high school, I went to Israel for a year to learn, and I got involved with the organization One Family Fund. So often in life we hear about these terrible terror attacks, and we want to help, we just don't really know how we could do that. So One Family Fund actually gives these young students a way to help people. They connect them with these families and enable them to come into their houses and help them out after these tragedies. But when I got to college, it was quite a heavy course load. Personally, I was balancing a double major and a minor in Yeshiva University, which has a dual curriculum, but this was something that was important to me. I didn't want this value of chesed, of kindness, to stop here. So I looked for opportunities outside of school to get involved. I started interning for an organization called the Super Soul Party. The Super Soul Party is a Super Bowl party that's thrown for the homeless within our communities. I had the opportunity to help them find venues throughout all the United States and even attend the party in New York City twice. Brought some friends along with me, and we were able to actually see past these people's current situation of homelessness and see them for the amazing human beings that they were. Since I was young, I had this desire to impact the world. However, I also really liked math. I was good with math, I was good with numbers. I got to college and I decided to take accounting and finance classes, and I fell in love with the material. But I wanted to kind of find a way to balance these two. Balance this business and math side of it with also impacting others. So I looked for opportunities on campus to get involved. And I actually was able to serve as a teacher's assistant for 5 out of my 8 semesters on campus. I first TA'd for business statistics, where I was able to help students with a very challenging course. Most students really struggle with business statistics. And being able to master the skills myself, I was able to help the next class of students so that they can also master the skills. I then went on to TA for business communication, where I didn't only teach the students facts, like the 4 elements of persuasion, but I was able to teach them skills. So many of these students come into class with a real fear of public speaking, and we're able to help them get over that fear and become confident and successful speakers in the workplace. So this was great. I was balancing my business and my desire to help others, but I didn't want that to end after college. So I actually looked into the accounting industry and found the non-for-profit sector. And I actually secured for myself an internship last summer at an accounting firm that within New York City specializes in non-for-profit clients. And then I was able to get a full-time position there where I'll be returning in July. For me, this value of chesed, of kindness, was what was really important to me. And I saw this as a value that I wanted to live. So I went into non-for-profit. But the non-for-profit world is more broad than what we think of as just charitable organizations. There's so many different types of non-for-profits. But what unites all of them is that they have this bigger goal in mind to help either the world or people in some way. And that's what drew me to non-for-profit. However, they often operate very similarly to for-profit organizations, which means they need that same wide array of skilled workers to come to make their companies profitable. So each one of you can possibly get involved in non-for-profit organizations in your own ways. But of course, whenever you think of non-for-profit, you're greeted with the immediate concern, you don't make money in non-for-profit. Just last week, 2 mentors of mine looked at me and said, Shoshi, don't go into non-for-profit. You're not going to make money, just go into for-profit. And it is a real concern. And I think that you need to just take a step back and look at what's important to you. If right now your biggest goal is to make the most money, then probably don't go into not-for-profit. You won't be happy there. But if you kind of feel a pull to do something more meaningful with your life and have your job to have an actual impact on the world, then maybe it's worth it for you to forgo some of that extra spending money so that you can feel like your life has meaning. The not-for-profit world also appeals to more values than just this chesed, kindness. So many values are manifested in different non-for-profit organizations. For example, if you really value peace, get involved with the different non-for-profit organizations that work to promote peace both on a large global scale or a small local scale. Or if you really value faith and religion, then get involved. You should know that most religious institutions and houses of worship are actually non-for-profit organizations. The world of non-for-profit is so vast and there's so many opportunities for you to get involved. But some of you might be thinking, this sounds great, I'd love to live my values, but I have a job that I'm really excited about. And I'm here to tell you that your values don't have to stop here. There are ways for you to actually bring those values into your own personal jobs, however it is, whatever profession you go into. That means both within the walls of your company and also in your personal life. For example, if you really value the pursuit of knowledge, then within your company, look for opportunities where your company is offering classes on different things within your industry or other industries. Or outside of work, go to the library and read up on things that are important to you and interest you. Or if you really value honesty, make sure that your coworkers within the walls of your office know that honesty is something that's really important to you and you won't compromise on it. It's true, you might sacrifice a little bit in the short run if you're always being honest. But in the long run, I guarantee that you'll be happier with yourself knowing that you stuck true to those values. And outside of work, make sure that your family members and those that are close to you know that honesty is really important to you. And make sure that you're imparting that value onto them as well. But let's say the value of chesed, of kindness, is really something that is important to you, but you just don't want to go into non-for-profit. That's okay too, and there's still a way for you to live that value. There's an article in the New York Times about a businessman named Matt Wage. Matt Wage, everyone believed was going to go and change the world in some way. So everyone was really shocked when he went into finance and worked on Wall Street. However, Matt Wage didn't let his kindness stop there. Matt Wage donates 50 to 60% of his income yearly to different charitable organizations. This is just one man, and yes, his donation was quite big, but each and every one of you can do it in your own way. When you think about Judaism, there's a big value of this chesed, of kindness. And when I think of the two ideas together, of kindness and Judaism, two ideas come to mind. The first is the idea that we're told in Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our fathers, that the world stands on three pillars. The third one being gemilat chasadim, which means doing acts of kindness. The other idea that comes to mind is olam chesed yibaneh, that the world was actually built with kindness, which means that as humans living in this world, it's built into our DNA to want to go out and help people. So we need to listen to that call. If your colleague at work is struggling, go over and lend a hand. If you see your teammate is overburdened by everything they have to do, then take the opportunity, if you have free time, go over and help them lighten their burden. It's our moral obligation as human beings on this world to help each other and help sustain the world. So as each of you go out and branch into your own business careers, whatever they may be, know that this is not a stop sign. Your values don't need to stop within the walls of your community and within the walls of your colleges. You can take those values into your professions, whatever they may be. Whether that's taking your values and building a career around them, like I'm doing with non-for-profit, or just implementing your values into your day-to-day life within your own careers. I want to leave you with a quote from Elvis Presley. He said, "Values are like fingerprints. Nobody's are the same, but you leave them all over everything that you do." Each and every one of us has our own set of values that makes us unique and makes us who we are. Wherever you are in life, whether it's in your personal life or within your job, make sure that your values are on display constantly. Figure out for yourself what those values are that are important to you and are meaningful to you, and use them to leave your fingerprints everywhere. Thank you.